Good morning, boys and girls. It is so great to be able to talk to you again. And whether you're sitting in church or at home, we hope and pray you're all doing really well. Last week, we heard all about the importance of prayer. We heard how Hannah opened her heart up to God, asking for His help. She was deeply troubled, yet she knew the Lord could answer her prayer, and He did, by giving her her son Samuel. Hannah was overjoyed, and she kept her promise by giving Samuel back to the Lord, where he would be looked after by Eli and be taught all about God. Today we learn a bit more about Eli and his family. We also learn about the importance of serving God and others with a pure heart, and how important this is to God. It is just not enough to serve others. We need to do it in the right way. Eli was a priest, a godly man who was teaching Samuel all about the Lord. They lived in a place called Shiloh, and Eli had two sons called Hophni and Phinehas. They also lived in Shiloh, and they were learning to be priests too. They were not doing a very good job of it though. In fact, the Bible tells us that they were evil men that didn't care about the Lord. Eli's sons had broken God's law and robbed His people. Their actions were so bad that people didn't want to come and sacrifice to the Lord anymore. While Eli's sons were behaving so badly, we read how Samuel was devoted to the Lord. He valued the priestly clothes he wore, while Hophni and Phinehas couldn't have cared less about them. Even though Samuel was in the midst of people who were rebelling against God, he continued to grow in the Lord, and the Lord was preparing him for a very special job. Eli's sons grew up, and Eli tried to warn them about their behaviour and what would happen to them if they didn't change. They didn't listen to him though. Instead, their behaviour got even worse. They didn't care about God's word and had no desire to serve the people in a way that would please the Lord. Their hearts were hardened, and they refused to listen to Eli's warning about God's judgment on them. God sent a prophet to Eli to warn him that God was preparing to punish his sons for their wickedness. He went on to explain that the strength of Eli's house would be broken and that his sons would not live to become old men. In the middle of this sad story, though, is Samuel, a young man whose heart was pure, a bright light shining in the darkness. And this is exactly what we are called to be. It is so important that as Christians we serve the Lord with a pure heart. If we treat others badly, they may decide they don't want anything to do with God. Our lives need to be about serving others in such a way that they will be drawn to Jesus and not pointed away. God has called us to love Him and serve Him with all of our heart. Think about how God is calling you to serve Him. It could be at home, on the rugby pitch, playing football or hockey, even in school. How can you serve God with a pure heart, trying to draw people towards Him? This week we would like you to think about who you sit beside in school. We'd like you to pray for them and one other person in your class. Pray for them every day. Ask God to help them with any worries they might have. And if they don't know Jesus, pray that they will come to know Him really, really soon. Thank you for listening, boys and girls.